Okay, in this lecture we are going to see how we can get detail about some crypto. For example, I want to get some information like the data metrics of for example, the prices details, when it get higher, when it get lower, and also the volume and another information or economical information we can say. So for that, I am going now to explain how to create an API. So we will not send the data through WebSocket as we saw before, but we are going to send them through API request. So it means that when I send a request to the server which I have created, I get data for one time. It's not live updated. Of course, you can do it live updated, but I want to show in this course multiple variants like how we can create static API and also live API. We finished from the live API. As we saw, we created a WebSocket and we got information about price list of cryptos. Now I want the user, when he goes to a specific link, to get data of a detailed data of a crypto. So in other words, when I have in front end like list of cryptos as we saw before and the prices are changing, then we are going to click on one of those cryptos to go to the detail of it, and then getting the detail will be through that API which we are going to create. So in the documentation of the Messari, like the one which I am using, there is something called get asset market data and there is get asset profile. So for example, let's try this one. Get asset profile, it's give you all information about some crypto or some coin. So for example, here we have something like here a URL. It's showing us an example. So the idea that you can put the API, of course, the API version and etc. And then you put the asset key that we can get it from the ID. As you see here that it says that always can be ID or like the symbol, which is the name. So the ID is unique, so it's more safe to use the ID here to get information about some specific crypto. So let's go back to Postman and try this API. I am going to copy this URL. Of course, I am in the documentation of Messari. We saw how we can get there before. So I will go to Postman and then I will go to have a normal GET request. Not a WebSocket as we saw before, but a normal GET request. So for example, here I am connecting to my API and we get data about some cryptos. So let's have one of those cryptos, like for example, the Bitcoin. So in this GET, I'm going to paste that URL, but I will replace this asset key with one ID of those cryptos. For example, I will get this ID. So in this ID, I can put it here, replace the asset key, and then I will press send. And when I press send, I will get all the information about this crypto. So for example, as you see, we have all the information. We can click on pretty to see it better. So, and also here you have to have JSON to see it formatted. So we have all information like general is verified, the sector is currencies, project details, some URLs, all of those, the official link, all of those information, you can display them in your front end in a beautiful way, so the user, when he click on that coin, then he will go to all of those details. But now we need to use our, as you remember, we are using in the headers something called API key. So in the API key, I don't want to show it to people. So for example, I can send this request directly from the front end, but we need to pass with it some API key. So when you do that from the front end directly, then everybody can inspect on your front end and see that your API key, so they can steal it and use it in their application, especially if you have subscription or you are paying for this API to get more requests per day. So for that, we need a server. So this server which we have created here to hide our API key. So this API key, it's not accessible from the other servers, or for example, the other users cannot inspect to your server because server is hidden somewhere and nobody can access it. But the front end, you can access it through the DevTools in Google Chrome, as we will see later. So for that, you need to hide the API key and you create your own API. So you don't have to use this API, like how to say here, like it will be datamessari.io. You can use your own domain. So you can have mycrypto.com and then you put here like the ID or anything else you want. So you get the same data over this API. And this is what we will say in the next lecture.